All right. We're going. We're getting somewhere. Let me clean this up. All right. So, how's everybody doing tonight? That's pretty clean. I'm cleaning up my workspace because I gotta change projects. See that line right there? This line. This one, that's the last layer that I gotta add to this cube here. Cube here. And I have enough rings. Should be fine. I was worried about running out for sure. Your pro tip, use a lint brush to clean up all the little metal shavings that get left everywhere whenever you're working with chainmail. You got metal. Hang on. I didn't realize how loud that was going to be. If you got metal shavings all over your desk, then yeah, use a lint roller to get rid of them. Good news. I have the rings to finish this cube. So, Julie, how you doing? Let me open this up. There we go. Come on, there we go. That should definitely be enough. I'm gonna need this. I'm gonna need this tool again. Hang on. All right. So what's everybody up to? How are things? How's your day? Give ourselves a little pile of rings here. All right, doing well. Good, good. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate you. So we've got stainless and bronze going into this cube here. And now we finally have enough rings. Let me figure out where the next ring goes and we can get started. So for anyone, this is a better example of what I'm doing. I'm making a large chainmail jelly cube, right? This one's almost done. That line right there is the last layer that I have to finish, and then this one's done. Charlie, how you doing? And then this one is bronze and stainless steel, and it's going to have one predominantly bronze side, one predominantly stainless steel side, and then two sides that are mixed predominantly bronze, and then two sides that are mixed that are predominantly stainless steel. So it's a good way to, it's going to be a full cube, whereas this is an offset cube, and it's kind of a, Louis, how you doing? Kind of a, like when I say this will be a 10 by 10 by 10 cube, right? What that means is that there's going to be 20 layers on each direction, right? Whereas this one, it being, so this small one is going to be a true cube. This one will be one layer short on each side. When I say it's 15 rows on each side, it's only 29 layers, right? A row is comprised of 2 layers, right? And there's a reason to do it that way, and a reason to make a true cube, and it's up to you. Howdy, boss. Gonna get you a cement mixer now? I appreciate it. I need one. I've wanted a cement mixer for a bit, just a cheap one from Harbor Freight. They're like $300. It's not a deal breaker, and for what I plan on doing with it, it's a worthy investment. You figure a tumbler that you can use to tumble rings, $70 to $100, right? A cement mixer that you can use to tumble very large completed projects, $300. That's a deal. That makes economic sense. How much would you sell the big one for? It's entertaining the question if you would never sell it. Oh, probably somewhere between $4,500 and $5,000. I'm not married to that one. I do like it. I am going to use it to replace my rubber band ball over at my bar. But other projects that I've done, I'm very much, married to and would never sell. And this one, I like it. I was in a position where I was going to have to sell this when it was done, but I'm not anymore, so I don't know. Thank you for the roses, appreciate you. But how you doing tonight, Grace? Roxy, how's it going? This song is really loud. I feel like I'm yelling. Your comment just disappeared. I still think you could rent one for a day as long as it's clean enough. Oh, you probably could. That'd probably be cheaper. But I have like a multitude of uses for it. So, I don't know. Get a cement mixer, throw it in the backyard, cover it in a tarp, call it a day. It's not expensive enough to be concerned about, It was the same 55-gallon drum comment and it disappeared. Interesting. I don't know what happened. All the comments are controlled by not me. I might have had something to do with it. There is probably a button that said, only good language, only good family-friendly language allowed somewhere. And I have it pressed in my settings. It's probably my fault. But, rocking with Lox and Ollie. How you doing tonight? Alright, so today's like the second week of my new employment, and there's a lot of meetings and calls and modules and trainings and all that stuff. Loads of fun. Just want to check. Just went to check your allergy meds and realized you need a Walgreens run. Oh no. The morning shifts are brutal and horrible. Yeah. No, I get it. I am used to waking up at 7 o'clock so much that I just wake up at that time now, even on the weekends. I wish I could sleep in, but I don't. 7 o'clock, wake up. Got to take the dogs out. They know it's time. The dogs know what time it is, when it's time to get up, so. It's like, it's a 30-minute commute. You're used to waking up at 10:30 and haven't been and I've been getting up at 6:30. It's a 6-day work week with a double in it. Tomorrow is 7 A to 7 P, and Saturday you have a VIP event. That sounds fun. I was very fortunate when I stumbled across this job. It was pretty much kind of pick your own schedule kind of deal. Like, you have from 8 in the morning until 5 in the afternoon to get everything you need done. And in between there, they don't really care what you do, provided you get your job done and you get your hours in. So, but I don't know. My commute tomorrow is like half hour, 40 minutes first thing. But that's not too bad. All right. You made 20 pounds of chocolate mousse today and piped it into like a bajillion cups. Nice. I don't know the first thing about making chocolate mousse. My grandmother on my stepdad's side, she can cook anything, right? So every Christmas, Thanksgiving, birthday party, you know, we always had a ton of dessert. All right. I did not learn how to cook anything. I was a bit young, but also a bit of a pain in the butt. But yeah. Like, she could make all sorts of candies and truffles and little pieces of fudge and whatnot. A lot of whisking. Like, if you're ever hand whipped cream, it's that, but more. Oh, nice. Excuse me. And every year they'd make a big batch of candy and chocolate and send them out to everybody for Christmas. And I think I helped out like once or twice in my lifetime. But I think that was it. Never long enough to pick anything up. Made 8 pounds of Mexican hot chocolate flavor style, and the rest is normal mousse. Spent probably a good 45 to an hour just whisking. Nice. 45 minutes to an hour just whisking. There isn't like a mixer you can hook that up with, or does the mixer not work for that? And now I feel like there's no music. Pick a volume. It's like those commercials on streaming services, right? The show will be really quiet, so you'll have the volume turned way up, and then the volume will kick on, and it's just blaring. The Job doesn't have a stand mixer. Ooh. That sounds awful. I'd go on strike until they bought you a stand mixer. So, actually, you know what? I don't even know where I'm at with this cube. What layer we're adding. Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, okay. So, 1, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. We're working on row 9, and we're going to 10 rows. Okay. So actually, we're close. That's awesome. You're already the highest paid cook? Right on. All right. Go to Walgreens, get you some allergy meds or whatever you had going on there, buddy. Feel better. Walgreens. There's one, I think it was last year. I was like shopping during Christmas time, and the wife's a Harry Potter fan. Some Zyrtec, yeah, there you go. It might have been for her birthday. So I learned. Well, it took me a while, but I learned that there's like a theme to the gifts that my wife likes, right? So for a while she was getting Christmas Vacation stuff that they sold at Kohl's. They have like this knick-knack section, and they had a cup. It's a glass cup, yay big, it's huge and heavy, and it's got a bunch of Christmas Vacation quotes all over it. She was getting that for a long time, and then bunch of Harry Potter stuff, and she likes. I started getting her the, what are they called? Funko Pops, the Harry Potter Funko Pops, which are getting harder to find. Like you have to order them. So as long as I stick to a general theme of Christmas Vacation, Harry Potter, or some other movie she likes, and then I get her cute socks to run around in, she stays pretty happy about what she gets. But there was one time at Walgreens, they had a bunch of Harry Potter stuff. So I got like Harry Potter blanket, a coffee cup. Is that a chainmail cube? Yes. We are making a bronze and stainless steel chainmail cube. I don't know what this song is, but it is annoying. Hang on a second. I will hold this up for you. Boo. Like the end of that song was terrible. Alright. So, bronze and stainless steel cube. And we're going to 10 rows on each side. And then I've got this one that is almost finished. We're going to 15 rows on each side. And I've got the last row started there. And it's almost done. I will be very glad to be done with that one. It's one of those things that I think I've spent about 6 weeks on that cube, on the big one here, on this one. I'm ready to move on to something else. I'm ready to be done with cubes in general. So I'm going to take a break from cubes for a while. I've got 1, 2, 3 small projects that'll take me a day if I'm uninterrupted. And then I will move on to the next project I want to work on is my the toolkit for my Road King, and then the gas tank bib. I was talking last night. I think I can get the front and rear fenders, the gas tank, and the side panels all hydro dipped for next riding season, which would be awesome. Get that portion of the project done. I would love to have all the artwork on the bike done by next riding season. And then next year, do all the work on all the improvements to the functionality of the bike itself. So, thank you for the follow. Appreciate you. Anyway, I think the toolkit will go fairly quickly. I have to... There's a bracket that attaches the toolkit to the windshield, and I have to be careful that the chainmail going around the toolkit doesn't get in the way of that bracket attaching to the windshield. So I don't know how I'm going to adjust that yet, but I will figure it out. Other than that, not much else going on today. Just chilling on the tablet from work. I probably have 100 hours of module training and death by PowerPoint stuff to go through. And it's all... A lot of it is company policy stuff, and then a lot of it is what they expect from you as a nurse. And so, it's good stuff. It's just not the most enthralling form of entertainment. I'm not going to lie. Oh, I did. Okay, so, most of you probably don't know, I went to the hospital on Tuesday night, Wednesday morning. Did not get any sleep that night. And I was telling this story the other night. Being an RN, I notice when other nurses make mistakes, right? And I was in a condition where I could not advocate for myself. But I noticed that the 2 times they accessed my IV, on the end of the tubing connected to your IV is what's called a hub. And there's a system called the Loralox system where you can connect syringes. Will just screw on to the end of the IV, and you can administer medication or draw blood or whatever you need. And they did, and neither time did the nurses at the hospital clean the hub, right? Which is, you're definitely supposed to do that every time you access that IV site, right? And I wasn't in a position to be like, hey, no, don't, you got to clean that before you administer anything to me. Just because I felt like I was having a heart attack. I had other things on my mind. But I did notice that they didn't swab it either time. And I put that it's a huge no-no not to do that, right? And I don't want to be a snitch and tell on people. I didn't name any names in the survey. I just gave the general background on what happened. And when they flush it with saline, they need to swab the hub with alcohol or some other cleanser that's appropriate for cleaning IV hubs before you administer anything. Right? So I doubt I will hear back from the hospital in regards to this event, but I hope that by reporting what happened, that they get at least a talking to. If a nurse or a doctor or anyone tries to administer anything to you without giving you or without cleaning the hub of your IV or of your PICC line or of whatever type of device you have inserted into your body, raise hell until they clean it. Okay? Because you don't... the hub was fresh out of the package. The IV had just been placed. It wasn't like I was laying in a hospital bed and that hub was, getting dirty. Right? But that's not the point. The point is that if they're not cleaning it on a brand new hub, are they cleaning the hub of a 3-day-old IV When you were septic the first night you were in the hospital, nurse not only had to try 3 times to get place an IV. Is it Amethyssal? How you doing? Which also drew downstream of your IV, so the tube was full. Oh, no. Yeah. Yep. That will happen. Now, no medical professional is perfect. And I don't mean to rag on the whole profession, but the reality is that medical errors remove from this mortal plane a lot of people every year, right? So the more informed patients are, the better off they can advocate for themselves, and I got no problem ensuring that the hospital administration is aware of what occurred, and hopefully they will work to correct it. If you hadn't been so close to drying, you would have been livid. Hospital, 3 times to draw blood, I'm assuming. And they were administering some kind of medication into your bloodstream, and when they drew the blood farther down from the IV, they got like medication and blood at the same time into the lab tube. Does that sound about right? Yeah, that's the thing too. When you're sick or you're in severe pain, you just want relief, right? You just want to feel better. You don't want to have your life risked in the process of trying to feel better. That's counterintuitive. Mike, how you doing? Stupid autocorrect, you said Jello. Nice. Oh, come on. So, I sent off that survey. And like I said, I just hope that behavior gets corrected. There's no excuse for it. They weren't busy. They weren't rushed. The ER wasn't full. It was just a fluids IV. Right, but if they drew, let's say the fluid was normal saline. If they drew your blood and they got a mixture of normal saline and blood, because they were drawing downstream of your IV, right? And they don't change where they drew that lab from. They don't throw that lab away. They send it to they send that blood sample to the laboratory with all that IV fluid in there. All those levels are useless. So they should have tossed it and redrawn your blood. Which, if you were septic, I'm sure they did. You know, but still. And if you are a patient, definitely advocate for yourself. You are your biggest advocate, or your family members, right? Because healthcare practitioners are not perfect people, and there is no such thing as perfect practice, and they make mistakes just like everyone else. You should mess up before she even did, but it was in the middle of the night and you were septic, your useless husband was asleep, and you were holding your almost 1-year-old. Oh no, that sounds like a rough night. Yeah. Once they got your blood sample to the lab. I'm sure that they realized that it was so far off it couldn't be correct. And I'm assuming that they came back and drew labs, right? Because if you just have a diluted blood sample, they'll notice when they get the results. If nobody who handles that lab sample, which there are about 3 people, depending on the lab, sometimes more. If none of them notice, when they get the results, they would be able to tell that something had gone severely wrong. She didn't take the lab after she did that. She got somebody else to do a blood draw. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, that's good. If she threw it away and got somebody else to do a blood draw, it was probably a phlebotomist who came in the middle of the night to draw blood and didn't think twice about drawing blood downstream from your IV. I'm assuming you had the IV in your hand and they're drawing blood from here. So you have IV fluid going up your arm through your veins into your heart. For anyone unfamiliar with how IVs work, right? IV's here, fluid's going this way, and when they go to draw the blood from up here, it's just a mixture of blood and fluid, right? So it's automatically diluted by what's in the vein anyway. So if they noticed that it was all wonky and it never got to the lab, that's good. But like I said, it was probably a phlebotomist who didn't even think about drawing blood downstream from an IV. Thanks for sharing the live. Appreciate you. Yeah. And believe me, I have worked with patients all through horror stories of being in hospitals. Being a patient is not fun. I still have the second worst part about Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, was not the first worst part was the pain that I had in my chest and the anxiety of thinking that I was dying. I'm fine, but they put those electrodes for an EKG all over my chest, and I still have when you peel a label off a jar and there's that sticky residue underneath, I still have that all over my chest. And in areas where I had chest hair, I got like these quasi bald spots where the electrodes just pulled it all out. It's very fun. You're doing good. 3 more work days, so your 2-week vacation. Nice. Going to Cancun. Right on, buddy. Have fun. Be safe. Assume the first person was just a nurse and the second guy had a whole kit. Magical. Oh, okay. That very well could be. After that night, being a patient was fun. I think you're being sarcastic there. But yeah, ripping the electrodes off my chest was... I tried to be careful about it, and it wasn't happening. It was the worst. Yeah, the same thing happened too. Sleeper Cell, how you doing? All right. So, but I lived. I got through it. I'm better. And now I know what that pain feels like. And I've seen other people experience that pain before. And I've always, it's like, oh, it's just indigestion. No, it's not just indigestion. It's the most painful. It is by far the most painful thing I've been through in my life. So, thanks for sharing the stream. Appreciate you. But hopefully it will never happen again. And next time I won't go to the ER. I will just go and get some like Pepcid AC or Pepto-Bismol. I didn't go to Walgreens to grab that because I did not know what was going on. So here's what the problem is. It's that pain is going to happen again, and this time it will be cardiac related, and I'll just be drinking Pepto-Bismol and Tums and, baking soda mixed with lukewarm water, and then I'll croak, thinking I'm having stomach issues. That's what's going to happen now. It is what it is. All right. So yeah, I would say that I want to go on a 2-week vacation to Cancun, but I just got off, not doing anything but making chainmail for the last 2.5 years. So I haven't really earned a vacation yet. I might try and go to Japan to visit my brother, and then I do want to go home to Idaho to visit my grandfather or my grandmother and my papa. Both my grandpas are gone at this point. Gives you panic attacks. Yeah. I was definitely very panicked, and I thought that that was it for me. It was. I have a decent pain tolerance. I've been through a lot of stuff that hurts, and this was mind blowing. It was just awesomely painful. And I don't mean awesome as in cool. I mean huge, big, you know what I mean? The rest of the hospital stay was fine. Even getting a PICC line was neat. Ooh, there you go. PICC lines. I'll be doing a lot of dressing changes on those here in the future. Though I guess that the current business I'm working for does not have their infusion certification. So I don't know when it'll be happening, but because a major insurance company bought out the business, I'm sure that they will have to get that certification now. The day you went to the ER was the same day your mother died. That's awful. I'm so sorry to hear that. Yeah, I am making a chainmail cube. I'm almost done with this one here, and I've got this last top layer started right there. And then this one is a bronze and stainless steel one that I'm working on. And I needed the stainless steel rings to finish it up. Husband woke up and said he missed the text from your aunt 3 hours before. That's awful. That's just an awful night. But I've seen so many times where stuff like that happens. It's crazy. It's just that all at once, people's lives turn to chaos. I've never made a wallet. I've made wallet chains. Then you took your temp was 103, so you went to the ER and didn't grieve proper at all. Yeah, no. How could you? If you're that sick and you got to worry about yourself at that point, you don't have capacity to empathize or sympathize or any other kind of eyes with whatever else is going around you. If you're in survival mode, But yeah, Sleeper Cell. I've made a bunch of wallet chains. I'm trying to think of anyone. I want to say we've discussed this before on the stream. Not you and I, but just me and an audience in general about making a wallet. And I mean, it's possible, sure. Is it a good idea? That's up for debate. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate you. We've got all kinds of stuff being made out of chainmail nowadays. I'm sure someone has done a wallet. I wouldn't put it past the chainmail community for if someone to attempted a wallet at this point. I just don't know how good it was. Grandparents took kids for the next 4 nights. When he came home, the dish is still on the table. That sounds about right. Find hospital stays beyond loathsome. Swear you're not sure which is worse, dying or feeling like it would be better if you were. Your anxiety goes through the ceiling and depression ends up off the charts when you're stuck in a hospital. Yeah, I'll bet. I can 100% believe that. Red Flag City. Is this the husband? How recent was this? This feels very recent. Like, did all this happen like yesterday? I'm very sorry this happened to you and you had to go through it. It's not fun at all. Someone brought a baby and 2-year-olds 8 years ago. You're still just upset about it? It's very upsetting, and it seems warranted, to a point. And if you have a bad experience and someone else is having a bad experience, that can definitely bring back unwanted memories for sure. Now that you were 5 nights and still nursing the baby, so you were septic, so you must have. I don't know anything about labor and delivery and neonatal and NICU stuff. But you were septic, but you were still able to breastfeed, or you had been septic and then were still able to breastfeed. That's. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know you could do that. I thought if you were septic that would be avoided. It's just not my area of expertise. The baby was almost 1. Okay. So it wasn't an infant or anything. Or it was an infant, it just wasn't a newborn. I don't know. That... Like, I guess it kind of raises an eyebrow for me because it's not something I've ever worked in, and I don't have any experience in, like mother-baby OB-GYN stuff. So, well, yeah, no, I understand that. But if you're septic, right? That's my question is, like, I'm trying to think my way through this. Like, I guess there wouldn't be a concern that the baby would catch an infection from breastfeeding. I guess I'm just... It just boggles my mind a little bit because I've never thought about it, right? It's like the most I work with kids is little trach babies on ventilators, and they're not nursing, they're not taking anything by mouth. Usually it's all through a G-tube. Yeah, but it would make sense either way, right? Regardless of whether or not you're septic. Sick mothers nurse their babies all the time, right? I don't know. I'm not a mother. You learn something new every day. Come on. Moms don't get sick days. No, they don't. I don't know. I didn't take a sick day at my last job. When I left, I had like a month and I had like 6 weeks of sick time and PTO. Oh man. But no, I hear it from my wife all the time. It's like, I had to get up in the middle of the night and nurse this baby for 6 months or however long it was. It's been 10 years and she's not gotten over it. How much does a cube weigh? All right, we can pull out a scale here real quick. The large cube should weigh 3.8 pounds, I think, when it's all done. So it should be close to that. All right, let's see here. And I have no idea what the small cube weighs, but this big cube is aluminum, right? Let's do that, and then 0 it. So the large cube, so 3 pounds, 10.4 ounces, right? So that is, trying to do the math in my head. Over 3.5 pounds at this point, right? So we should end up at 3.8 pounds by the time it's all said and done. And this one is 1 pound, 1.8 ounces. And I don't know what this will end up being, but not much more. Maybe 1.3 pounds. First few months with a newborn, hardly registered in memory. I think it's designed that way. Like, you have all these chemicals pouring through your body when after you have a baby, and they make you forget the pain of the baby, and then you have this little bundle of joy in your arms. So then you think, oh, it's adorable, it's so cute, I want to have another one. Stop just before finishing to start something new. Because if you remembered it all, you'd never do it again. I think that's every woman on the planet, right? If they remember childbirth and the pain and the, disorientation, they'd be like, yeah, I don't want to go through that. But no, like, all the chemicals give you, like, fuzzy brain. And you're like, you just kind of forget about all the bad stuff associated with pregnancy, and you have this cute little baby, and you look down at it and you go, oh, I want another one. And then that one grows up, and you go, I miss when they were little, I want another one. And then that's how Mother Nature has humans reproduce. It drugs women with their own hormones. But yeah, so I had started this one, started working on it. I got a commission for this one, got the supplies in, stopped what I was doing here, began working on this, ran out of rings, and now I worked on this one until it was almost done, and then I got more rings in, hence now we're here, right? So normally I don't pause. I don't pause on projects. I don't jump around too much. Because with these larger projects, I have to grind through them, or they will be added to my pile over here, and it'll be months before I work on them again. Hence why I have a giant pile of unfinished projects in the first place. Labors were 4 and 6 hours. That's not bad. Day one with your first. That was fun. We should do this again. Yeah, I think we were in labor for 12 for our kid. I say we, I mean her. All right. Chasing dopamine is hard. Oh yeah. Yeah, especially when these projects take so long. Right? There's over 100 hours in this project right here. I just finished up a 30-pound cube. I have like over 400 hours in that cube. So I do have smaller projects on the horizon. They're just few and far between. And then a bunch of stuff is like, okay, backlog of projects that I've been working on for quite a while. Some of them have been sitting for over a decade. Some of them need improvement. Some of them need to be turned into something else. And then I've got, some of them need to be improved. Some of them need to be turned into something else. And some of them just need to be finished, right? And then I've got piles of rings, that I ordered a lot of for some reason, didn't know what to do with, and they just sat there. And I can give you an example of that. This is like 9 feet of full Persian chain. I think it's probably more, right? And I have an idea of what I'm going to do with this, but I am going to have to order some more rings for that project. And then this is the remainder of the rings I used to make this strand of full Persian, right? And it's about half a container full from Hillshire Farms. And I had no idea what I was going to do with those when I got started. Now I have an idea, and in order to see that idea come to fruition, I got to order another material. I want to order some copper. Haven't done welding or beekeeping yet. It's easier to list the hobbies you haven't done at this point. You haven't done welding or beekeeping, okay. Got some aluminum jump rings, but they are too small and fiddly. Well, where did you get them from? One of those things that I try to warn people about and help people with is where to get rings specifically for chainmail and where to avoid. You got them from Temu? Okay. So, avoid Temu. Most of the stuff on Amazon is not good. There are a few chainmail suppliers on there. One of them is Chainmail Joe. He's on Amazon, or they are on Amazon. In the link tree in my bio is the Mailworks app. It's the second link in my link tree. Yeah, in my bio is the link tree. Inside the link tree, the second link is the Mailworks app. Inside of the Mailworks app is a list of suppliers, about 24 or about 15 or 16 different chainmail suppliers that I'm aware of. And they all make rings focused on, making quality chainmail stuff. But stuff from Michaels or Hobby Lobby, or you know a guy that makes spicy chain jewelry, you can just message him. As to, does he make rings or does he make items with rings? Because there's about 15 or 16 different chainmail suppliers out there. And all of them are better than the craft stores and Temu and Amazon and whatnot. He buys neat anodized rings and makes cool stuff. Yeah, there's suppliers that have anodized rings would be like Metal Designs. .com, We'veGotMail.com, and The Ring Lord, and ChainmailJoe.com. I'm trying to think, does anybody else off the top of my head have anodized aluminum rings? But yeah, there's a number of suppliers that pretty much have all the rings available, all the materials and all the rings and all the ring sizes. And those 4 that I just named, I don't think Chainmail Joe does stainless steel. But you can get, I think Chainmail Joe only does bright aluminum and anodized aluminum, right? And then the other 3 is where you can get your anodized aluminum, anodized titanium, stainless steel, anodized niobium, which is a real hypoallergenic metal, right? Very expensive, but very, very shiny and pretty. You helped make a setup to spin rings in college. That was fun. Oh, right on. Yep, that's how I got started. It's like I made all my own rings. I used a drill to wind the coil around the mandrel, and then hand cut all the rings from the coil. And I was successful in making really crappy rings, which is why I've been buying all my rings for the last 20 years now. So, but I will hopefully be making my own rings again soon, because some of the products I want to make are expensive. Couldn't cut them, didn't have the hand strength for the cutters. Yeah, I believe it. It's not. Like, depending on the cutters, that may have been the problem. Could have been hand strength. But that's the fun part about chainmail, is you can pretty much start out with any type of wire, find something to wrap it around. Find something to wrap it around. I don't know what wrap it around means, but lived in Wisconsin too long. Can you hand me a bag, eh? A bag? I need a bag, eh? Anyway, yeah, lots of ways to start out making your own rings, and it's fun. And then if you want to get higher quality materials with better finishes to make better finished products, a lot of chainmail suppliers out there that do that. There's a LARP kind of event with a chainmail kind of guild that would collaborate. Hey, now you're a Wisconsinite? Do you say bag? the grocery bag. I'm assuming that you're like born and raised here, whereas I'm being held against my will here. Actually, now, not the grocery or worse clothes. Yeah, my grandma says the dishwasher. Gotta wash the dishes. Where's my wash rag? And she lives in Idaho, so. But bag is accurate. Oh, okay. I gotcha. Yep. I am stuck here in Wisconsin now. I'll probably, well, for one, I'm priced out of ever moving back home. Growing up in Boise, Idaho was a luxury I didn't realize that I was afforded until I went to go start looking at houses. And in order to get something similar to what I live in currently, it's $700,000 plus. It's absolutely absurd. To go back to like Boise proper, if I want to live in the outskirts, you know, it's still 400, 500,000. So, kind of priced out of ever moving home. But also, I'm pretty integrated into this state. My son's been growing up here, and I don't want to change that. And then the way my property taxes work, I would probably get the same benefit on property taxes because I'm a vet in Idaho, and that's where I left from. But, like, here in Wisconsin, I had to live here 5 years before I could get any of my property taxes back. You've lived all over the state? Right on. I've only lived in the southeastern part, and I've been to Lambeau Field in Green Bay one time, long time ago, long before I ever moved here. But I moved here because I didn't want to live in Illinois. And we wanted to be closer to family. Unfortunately, her family lives like just south of the Wisconsin-Illinois border. So we settled on southeastern Wisconsin in Kenosha. And it worked. Only thing I don't care for is the weather. I don't know where Barneveld is. It's like the... I've seen other parts of the state. There's some very pretty parts to Wisconsin, but I've definitely not been like way up north or anything. So I've been to Milwaukee, and then whatever is on the Minneapolis, Wisconsin border. I drove through there. I was heading to Idaho. It's a long drive from Wisconsin to Idaho. Yeah, La Crosse. That's it. It's far, far away. Idaho, not La Crosse. Oh, and I went to Madison. I randomly got asked to go to a hockey game in Madison one time. This guy had an extra ticket. We rode out there. We didn't really know each other. We were affiliates of my wife, and like I knew her and she knew him. We didn't know each other, but he was like, "Hey, you want to go to a hockey game?" I was like, "Screw it." So I went up to Madison and went to watch the Wisconsin Badgers. It was actually really fun. I don't care for sports on TV very much. I'm not a big sports guy. Idaho doesn't have. Oh yes, I have. I have been to the Dells. You live near the Dells? Right on. Idaho does not have any major sports teams. We got like AA baseball, amateur hockey team, and the rodeo. The Snake River Stampede. So, no one in my family grew up watching sports of any kind. We were all outdoors. So I was never a big sports watcher. But I've been to the Badgers hockey game, and then I was at Wrigley Field, and I was at Lambeau Field for a game at each of those sites. And as sports are much cooler in person, like being in the audience. Being at any sports ball game is more fun than watching? Yeah. There was whenever the hockey team scored, they sound off a boat horn, like a ship's horn, inside the arena, and just bah, bah, and the whole building just shakes. It's crazy. I was not expecting that. I was like, oh my god. All right, where are we at here? We almost have two sides done. So we'll finish. I'll finish this layer here, and then we'll build up on one of these, and then we'll add two more layers to each side, and then that should be it. Which I don't know if you can tell, but I haven't gotten very far. It's very time-consuming, arduous process. It's like, I'm just glad we got the supplies to finish this, and this can be sent on its way. One less thing on my desk, taking up space. One more project out of the way. And then on to something else. I have plans for what I want to work on in the future, and I would like to get to those. You like the chain bags, the old-fashioned collapsible openings? Yeah, those are cool. I've only ever seen the collapsible openings as like a trashy base metal nickel-coated thing anymore, but the old ones where they're made out of silver are cool. They do have a name, and I know someone who knows the name of them, but I don't know what the name is. Like a basket clasp? Basket closure? Something like that. That's probably not it. I'm probably wrong. But I know exactly what you're talking about. They're very cool. I would like to own one day, just to add to my chainmail collection. So, I've only ever seen like the antique chainmail purses in a museum, and they wouldn't sell that one to me. I've never seen one with that that basket gate closure opener thing. I've never come across one of those except online. So, I would like a part of, this seems random. So I've done a few videos on like how we use chainmail in today's world, and there's what do you call it? These they're giant sheets of chainmail like made from cable, and they're erosion nets basically. So I need a piece of that, a section of that erosion net made from chainmail using cable rings. And I want one of those antique chainmail purses, and I would love to own a Neptunic shark suit someday. Not because I'll ever go swimming with sharks, but just it's a cool way to see chainmail in use today. And then the chainmail shoes that they have, I would like to own those. Made some dice bags in college, but they need liners so you don't ruin everything inside. This is why you want to learn to weld. Well, you little sparkle welders will weld rings pretty well. That's what I have. And it doesn't take much. It's just some eye protection and get the ring in the right place, close your eyes, and press the foot pedal. That part's fairly easy. Takes practice, but it's not like TIG welding or MIG welding or any of that stuff. Talk about tedious, yeah. Yep, I have 20 clasps that I have needed to weld for quite some time. And I've been busy with other projects, so I haven't gotten to it. But also, I've been putting it off because it's very, very tedious. Close all the circles and then use fire to close them more better. Yep. Nope, some point I will do more welded chainmail stuff. I need more practice at it, but I do have a sparkle welder and it works, so figure out what I can make. But it's, again, it's one of those things where like I want to use it and make new things, but I've got 100 things waiting for me to get done. We'll keep going. Need 2 people working on things, 1 closing circles and 1 to weld as you go. Yeah, there you go. I just need a shop full of elves to do all this for me. Excuse me. Some good old fashioned forced labor. I'm just kidding. Don't. That's a joke. Indentured servitude. And a shop in general. Yep. I have plans. I have plans. And my plans are quickly getting out of hand. But I'm trying to keep it so that 90% of everything I need is in-house. Right? I can do the coiling and cutting of rings in my house and make them high quality. I can weld rings, I can anodize rings, and I can make riveted rings, and I would love to get a laser and a tap and die set to make fancy patterns on rings and just start making really high quality stuff. And most of that will fit in my house or, coil and cutting setup out in the shed. Might need a second shed, to be honest. But there's some other larger stuff I'd love to have access to. And I have space in my backyard and I could build a shop back there somewhat. But it would be better for me to go and find a place to rent. So that I could set up certain kilns and machinery and all kinds of fun stuff. There's some places in Madison with neat stuff. Oh, you mean like an artist alley kind of bunch of shops lined up? That'd be cool. I need... excuse me. Excuse me. See here. I like the idea of artist alleys and like communal workshop with lots of tools you can pay to use. Yeah. I like some aspect of that, right? Communal workshop, right? So you had like a couple of forges, a glory hole to blow glass, and kilns for all that, and setting that up. There's no insurance company that's gonna, your insurance is gonna be through the roof, right? I know people do it. You're looking at. I know a guy that does blacksmithing classes up in Milwaukee, and I'll have to ask him. I want to go take one of his classes, but I'll have to ask him, like, does he own his building, or is it like, how is he providing insurance? You know what I mean? I'll have to figure that out. But that's the problem, right? Is you'll never find someone to rent you a building where you can do all that stuff. So you'd have to build the building yourself. And then you're looking at all the insurance that comes along with, pieces of equipment that are thousands of degrees. Right? Higher fire safety standards, yeah. So I know people do it. I don't know how it's done. The thing that I don't want to do is rent space to people. Right? Like you can run a tool room where people, can't leave with your stuff, and in order to do any work there, they got to clean up after themselves. That can be done. But I've just heard too many horror stories about the issues between shop owners or vendors that go on in these little artist alley type setups. It's like, I don't want to deal with these people. Way hotter than a bakery or restaurant oven. Just a bit. I have no idea what the temperatures for melting glass are, or how hot a glory hole gets. But, you know, steel's, what's the melting point of steel? 2,200? 2,400? Something like that? You can check me on that. It's high. It's over 1,000 degrees, which is over any temperature needed to cook anything. So you want a frozen pizza? Throw it in the forge there for 2 seconds and it's done. So but it would be cool to have a place where you can go and you can buy all the supplies you need and then go out onto a floor and work with whatever metal or glass that you want to work with. And the shop will have chainmail supplies and blacksmithing supplies and glassware and leatherworking and excuse me. Pennies are mostly zinc now. They melt lower than aluminum. You melt aluminum cans. And hang on, where had thanks for the follow. Appreciate you. Joe Bro, thank you. Working on making some really cool stuff. One day, trying to get there. Where was that? Melt aluminum cans in something. I'm missing a comment here. Melt aluminum cans and tried to cast stuff. Okay. Pennies are mostly zinc. And they melt lower in aluminum. I didn't know that. The King of Miranda on YouTube showed you how to make a bucket forge. Ah, okay. I gotcha. Yeah. Like, it's not complicated to make a forge. It's complicated to make a decent forge that's going to last for a long time. You can dig a hole in the ground and start a fire and throw some coal in there and like use a leaf blower to get the fire hot. Like you can literally use that to heat your metal, and there's nothing wrong with that. I just, I want something up off the ground. Call me hoity-toity. Yeah, something in my eyeball. Charcoal doesn't get hot enough, but upgrading to gas is scary. Yeah, that's why I use coal. You can get coal. All right. Your ex wouldn't let you make forge in the backyard? Well, that's why he's your ex, right? So it's a backyard. That's okay. I'm not a yard person, right? My kid's got a go-kart. And it's like, yes, please go play in the yard. Like, run over all the grass so that it doesn't grow. And if I have a big yellow spot, a circle from a track that, you dug from, your tires, I don't care, right? It's a backyard. The grass will grow back. Found Claymore Landscaping and made some pots. Oh, man. It's in the middle of Madison. Even more reason to do it. It's a small yard. We're okay. Like, I don't know what your situation was as far as owning or renting. But if you own it, right, like, do whatever you want in your backyard. Right? Like, kilns do not take up that much space. And a fire hot enough to what do they call it? A fire hot enough to put, clay pots in. It's not that big of a deal. As long as you're careful and know relatively what you're doing and have safety precautions in place, have some common sense about it. It's like, you've dug down on the raised garden bed and made a pit. Yeah. Lots of ways to get her done. I've got, oh man, that reminds me. I have a raised garden bed that I built at the beginning of summer, and I had every intention this summer of filling it up, but it's 4 feet wide, 8 feet long, 3 feet high, right? And so it's like 96 square feet of dirt 96 cubic feet of dirt that I have to add. And I was supposed to add it slowly over the summer, and then I never did. And I was like, look, honey, I made you a garden bed because I love you and you were dear to me, right? And then I never put any dirt in it. And so, did I really make her a garden bed, or did I just put some wood and bricks up in the backyard? And it's just an empty box. That's all I've given her so far. I gotta fill it up with dirt. Glaze needs to be hotter because it's more like melting glass. Yeah. What's the Roku? Is that a specific type of clay or a specific type of fire? I don't know enough about clay. Put logs in the bottom before adding dirt. What is that called? That's called something. Hugel culture. The hugels are like the big hill things, and then they put logs and wood on the bottom, and then cover it all in dirt, and then grow the plants on the side of the hills. Okay, raku is a firing technique. Okay. That doesn't use glaze. You just get stuff really hot, and then you, throw hair and straw and feathers on it, right? I don't know. She does the clay stuff, or did. Maybe one day again. Yeah. Don't burn down your house or anything. And this goes for everyone, right? But also don't let, keeping the yard look nice prevent you from doing awesome stuff in your backyard. Much more important to do awesome stuff in your backyard than it is to worry about how it's going to look when you go to sell it. And, don't worry about your front yard either. Just keep everything trim and mowed and... I don't know. I'm not the type of person who... Well, in theory... I supposedly live in an HOA. I never signed any paperwork agreeing to that, and I was never told. That was never disclosed to me when I bought the house. So when I found out I was in an HOA, after expressly stating that I did not want to live in an HOA, I was livid. And basically I've told the HOA to go kick rocks, right? You want to be adopted? She does clay. There you go. A friend of mine in Madison has a native plant wildflower yard. Nice. I've seen some of those that are really well done. And it's just let it grow rather than, manicure the crap out of it. But, so I'm not one of these guys that's out here mowing the yard twice a week and keeping everything nice and trim. It's I don't care. The grass could be yellow or dirt. I'm not interested in, I'll maintain it because of my neighbors, for them. But I don't get excited when when I have a good looking lawn, I don't get competitive with my neighbors that do all the fancy designs in their lawns with the the patterns and how they mow, and it's like I mow around in circles until all the grass is gone, and I'm just not passionate about lawns. Now chainmail, I'm very passionate about. You know, this makes a whole lot more sense to me than making sure my yard looks good for my neighbors, but to each their own, I guess. She has orchids in her yard. You just need one really nice grassy spot to lay on and picnic. Excuse me. I was looking at those, what are they? They're like, they got 4 beams and we got the roof covering out at Lowe's. I don't know how sturdy they are. We have some really, we got like 70-mile-an-hour winds in our backyard fairly often. So I don't know how stable these little porch covers are at Lowe's. But I would love to have a concrete pad with one of those porch covers on it out in the backyard, down by the garden bed and the shed. Pagoda. Yeah, I think that's what they're called. Something like that. Like just a spot away from the house, put a little fire pit in the middle of it, and, you know, get falling down drunk in my own backyard. Get some comfortable, weather-friendly chairs. Yeah, like a park pavilion in the backyard. I would like one of those. But first, I've got a ton of stuff I have to do to the house. So, it's like, the deck needs to be completely torn off and rebuilt. The carpets need to be replaced with wood floor. So, a park pavilion pagoda thingy in the backyard on a concrete pad with a fire pit and comfy chairs. Gonna have to wait. But one day. It's not out of the question. I think what I'm going to do is rip the sprinkler system out. When they put the fence in, they put 2 holes in the sprinkler system, right? And when you signed the paperwork, they're like, yeah, we're not going to repair any sprinkler system issues, right? It's like, in order for us to put the fence in, you got to sign this paper. Otherwise, we won't put the fence in. And we're not going to repair your sprinkler system. I have 2 dogs that have to have a fenced-in house. So, or a fenced-in yard, rather. They have a walled-in house with a roof. And a fenced-in yard. Not a fenced-in house. That's shady as fuck. I'm pretty sure it's standard practice in the fencing industry, because they don't know where the pipes are under the, like, unless you're the homeowner and you tell them exactly where all the water pipes are. And I didn't put the sprinkler system in. But, like I said, I don't give a shit about the yard or watering it. It could all turn to grass, yellow grass, or dirt, or rock. So I've never turned it on, right? And in order to do the things I want to do in the backyard, I would like that little pavilion thing on a concrete pad. And I would have to put it over where the current sprinkler system exists, right? And then I would like to put up a larger shed/workshop area in the backyard. That would be nice. Maybe one day, not anytime soon. You find that offensive? Yeah, I didn't like the fact that it happened and that I had to sign it, but I had to have a fence for my dogs. And I didn't care about the sprinkler system enough to worry about it. My priority was the fence. Could use some of the sprinkler system for a water feature. No. Like, what I want to do is I want to tear it out, put in that little pavilion, put in another shed, And then if I need to put in another sprinkler system, I can build it around those 2 larger permanent features. What am I doing? But that's the only thing that's stopping me from, well, that and money, right? So if I had the money, I'd have to tear out the sprinkler system to put it in a larger shed in a pavilion. So one day. It keeps messaging me. It'd be nice to have, but if it never happens, it's probably fine too. One of those things. Like, there's a lot of stuff I'd like to do. And I had all the time to do whatever I wanted, which was great. Got a lot of stuff done. But now I had all the time, and I didn't have the money. So now I'm going to have the money, just not the time. So it is what it is. It's a constant battle. When the lockdown hit, you started doing a lot of landscaping because the ex was working from home. You need to be away from him. I think that happened to a lot of people over that time period. Yeah. It's like I worked through all of that for about 2 years, and then I said, "This is dumb. I'm out." And I said, "I will live off my VA disability and call it a day." Got a lot of free landscaping rocks. You just like went and helped them move their landscaping rocks. That's the way to do it. Free pile o' rocks. Come get it. I've got landscaping rock in the front yard. The previous owner had someone come and do the landscaping, and it was very, very well done. Much better than anything I could have ever come up with. But basically, there's like flowers or a plant with color other than green blooming at some point throughout the year. Like right now, I have these really big, poofy, flowery things with like 100 flower heads on them. It's like a tree. And it went from white to pink, and there's hundreds of these little bushes. I don't know what it's called, right? But it starts out in the spring white and then gets pinker throughout the year. And that looks nice. The rest of it, as long as you keep it trim, it looks fine. But I don't know what you call it, the bricks that hold all the landscaping in, those all need to be torn up and built up. It's extended into my neighbor's yard on one side. So I don't want to do that. I want to hire someone to do that. Put a tarp in the trunk of your car, build a screen box to sift out the dirt. There you go. Oh, and I need a chainsaw on a limb trimmer saw thing. Because the tree, if you're facing my house, the tree on the left-hand side of my house, like the branches are touching my neighbor's house. So next year, I'll go out there and trim that up. Sounds like fun. Hey, it just sounds like something I have to do. It's like, I grew up in a family where at first I had I have an older sister, a little sister, and a little brother, right? So it was just the 4 of us. I was the oldest boy. And my dad and I would do all of the yard work. It was just me and him. And then I had... he got my parents divorced, he got remarried, and she had 2 girls older than me. So then it was the girls cleaning inside the house and me and my dad doing all the yard work growing up. Because I was the oldest boy. So I do not extract any type of joy from doing yard work. Like, it's physically enjoyable because you're up moving around and getting some physical exercise, but I'd rather not do it. I definitely couldn't plan out a landscaping thing, idea, whatever. Cut down an invasive tree with a handsaw. Oof, that's fun. I had to cut down. One of our trees had a box elder bug. No. Some kind of Asian beetle infestation. We had to cut it down. And now we have a little tree and it's this tall. It's 6 this far out of the ground and had like 10 leaves this year. Oh. Emerald ash borer. That's what it is. Had to cut that tree down. That was a nice tree. Now, all we have is sunlight in our driveway. Yeah. Now, the landscaping in the front yard is like sliding over towards my neighbor's house because there's like, you know, the ground between our houses, well, there's a grade to it, right? And the water is supposed to go down in between the houses. But instead, the bricks and the rock are just kind of sliding towards my neighbor's house. And it's not bad, but it's definitely over the property line. Is it a drainage thing? I assume so. I don't know. I just know that it's going to be physically taxing, and I'm fat and don't really know the first thing about landscaping, so I'm going to tear a bunch of it out. Like, all that brick's got to get cleaned up, doubled up. I got to buy more. I got to match it somehow, right? Or replace it all. And a bunch of it's buried in the ground, and so it still looks nice. Like, all the plants bloom at different times throughout the year, and that's a cool effect. But yeah, the brick and the rocker need some cleaning up, so I get to do that next year. It'll be fun. And my son is big enough that he can come help, so. And I don't want to. No. Nope. So we are almost 9 rows wide on 2 sides. We got one more side to go. If you want the plants here, you can give them away on Facebook. Now the plants aren't the issue. Trimming those back is no problem. It's digging the brick up out of the ground and getting all that, like the border of the landscaping, getting all that looking better, because it is sunk into the ground and it just needs to be cleaned up. And I'll get to it eventually. It's like, of the things that I can do around my house myself, that might be one of them, right? Like, I need my house pressure washed and then painted. Hoping to do that next summer. I'm not climbing up on a ladder to paint my house. That's definitely going to be someone else doing that, right? So if I need to dig some brick out of the ground to save myself